what's really going on. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency today. Going to be taking a look at XLM, Stellar Lumen against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of the key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of these, some nice levels of support that we may interact with in the near future here, as this recovery is looking quite nice from the big rejection off of 68 cents. We're plowing all the way through it, setting some higher highs. Will we come back down to retest? Will we continue upward? We're going to be assessing where we're going to go. Let me know what you're doing with your XLM. If you hold XLM, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you trade XLM, where did you buy? Did you buy at a dip? Did you buy at a top? Are you holding? Are you selling soon? Or are you just watching the price action unfold? Jumping right into it. To kind of recap this kind of recent uptrend breakout from this big major sideways that we had kind of last year there. We've been rallying, upward, up and sideways, the old classic. Price action tending to consolidate downwards in these three kind of moves here. Since those three kind of pumps, we've traded in a very tight range along 38 cents, bouncing upwards to like 45 cents, wicking down to like 36 cents, but ultimately finding support around my support line, 38 cents. Upon finding final support, retracing one final time to 34 cents at the end of kind of March of 2021. We rallied, so you bought that dip. We rallied 89% all the way up to 68 cents over the course of like 20 days. So it was a good run up, some good gains to be made. A lot of traders took profit, a big sell off. Bitcoin had a bit of an episode, but prices seem to be recovering very nicely as we've interacted with that 38-cent level yet again. Ultimately, that was very bullish long term, and another great buying opportunity since that dip around 38 cents to current price levels. We've rallied another 85 cents, so in around 19 days. And so, I mean, pretty much did like the same thing twice. A nice continuation pattern, I believe, in my opinion, is about to unfold. I suspect some more vertical to continue, some local pullback areas. I do believe we're going to be around 69 cents there, and another chance to buy under 70 cents. I believe will show itself kind of in the near future here. But prices are looking very bullish. We have tons of buy volume coming into play. We have price action hopefully looking to close above my support here. This candle is not closed yet, so upon the daily candle close above my support, I can be more short-term bullish and suspect that we can interact upward. I suspect major resistance around $1, but I feel like we can, kind of wick up above it and see some higher highs there. When we consider EngineeringRobo, the Fibba, Lamborghini, Zucchini, and Illuminati levels, if I can get them to draw there. In addition to the Fear and Greed Index, we can see some brand new perspective kind of come into play as prices are in a very, very, very pivotal stage. We have a rejection off of the FOMO zone there. That's what caused that kind of pullback, or that's what was correlated with that pullback, and suggests that we were going to be short-term bearish. Now, rejection off the FOMO zone, that is one of the two things that occurs upon interaction with the FOMO zone. Price action could either enter it, stay bullish, and continue upward if the coin is bullish enough. Although up in the FOMO zone is a great bunch of sell pressure. Traders are taking profit among these levels, and these are this is when traders should be selling. Typically, great time to accumulate is up in the fear zone here. When traders are heavily selling and afraid of prices going lower, this is when you should be accumulating. And then this is for the long-term holder. Say your last buy-in was beginning in November of 2020, and you held through all this up and sideways nonsense, and you sold at the first interaction with the FOMO zone. There, you made 584% in just over 3 months. So not even necessarily a long-term hold, but more of a mid-term hold that you'd have to hodl through all this nonsensical sideways and down. You'd have to you have to restrain yourself from selling at these blow-off tops here. But there are many different types of investor. All investors are unique. Everybody has their own strategy. Some trade, some hold. Everybody goes by their own flow. When we consider the EngineeringRobo buy and sell suggestions, we have the super buy, buy 2, early bird, buy 4, moon, all coming back into play after the sell 2, sell 4, hell, sell 2, sell 3, super sell were present during that big rejection off the FOMO zone. Although prices are interacting yet again with this FOMO zone, and so we could very well have a repeat of another downside, another perhaps from that kind of swing high into the FOMO zone. We had a good 47% kind of correction over the course of how many days was that? That was a good 10 days, a little over a week. And so I mean, we could very well have another correction, perhaps to this 60-cent line, all the way down to 55 cents, perhaps. over the course of time. If we were to get rejected off of this kind of FOMO zone here, I suspect a very bearish target of 48 cents. If we were to get kind of fully rejected and come all the way back down to this 0.618 Fibonacci line, that's at 49 cents. And which also does correlate with my kind of support line there. And so, I mean, that would be a very kind of midterm bearish outcome for XLM if we were to get rejected from the FOMO zone here. Although, with prices interacting with it yet again, I suspect with these combined kind of bull signals, we could interact with some higher highs very soon here. Prices could get volatile very quickly, and some tops could get bought, and the rally could continue, and we could see the dollar to perhaps multi-dollar briefly stellar before seeing another relatively significant sort of sell-off. And so there's lots going on. You have to be very careful with price up in the FOMO zone. You have to be, if you're very watch out for changes in momentum that could happen at any moment. We're still looking quite bullish though. I suspect some higher highs in the near future here when we consider the price of Stellar against the price of Bitcoin. We can see some very, very bullish price action, some higher highs in interaction with this big slapping zone that I suggested in a previous analysis. And so this is very, very bullish in my opinion, and it does suggest that we can start holding against Bitcoin or gaining against Bitcoin in the kind of near future here. These higher highs against these rejections off of the top of the slapping zone around 1289 Satoshi. 28th of November, we got rejected all the way back down to a different zone of slapping around 390 Satoshi. We rallied all the way back up over the course of the following months and got rejected off of a lower high around 1271 Satoshi, still within my big zone of knock and slapping. That rejected us all the way back down again, printed some higher lows technically, as we found support at a very much higher level around 671 Satoshi. We're now interacting with that big zone of kicking and spitting yet again, third time, finally able to break up upward, create some higher highs, and I would like to suspect price action to start closing, hopefully above, but within this zone here, I suspect a kind of local kind of pullback target around 1204 Satoshi before we can kind of continue to see some higher highs. But prices are looking kind of very, very bullish against Bitcoin so far. When we turn on EngineeringRobo along with these Fibonacci lines, we can see prices looking quite nice between these kind of two zones here. We have support around the 0.786 line correlating with the 1137 Satoshi level there, which is somewhat down from the big zone of slapping that we could wick down to perhaps as we find support along 1206. We could find wicks down to 1140. Failure to hold in my zone of slapping here, and we do get slapped all the way back down. We could most likely interact with that 0.618 line around 971 Satoshi. Price is looking quite bullish though, still with the buy for and price action closing above the 200 daily the 200 daily moving average for a price against Bitcoin, and so that to me is looking very bullish long term, although we could have some sideways, some sell-off. Traders could be taking profit, as XLM traders do like to take profit at their key levels, although there are many holders that will hodl through any long term. And so we're still looking bullish. If we consider the price of Bitcoin against US dollar tether, we can see some more ridiculousness going on as Bitcoin cannot decide what it wants to do, it appears. And so as we can see, we are closing downward below my resistance around 57K there, which is not looking that ideal at the moment. Short-term bearish, perhaps. This could be a break downward, a retest, an upward retracement kind of thing, and then a continuation downward. Perhaps we could see another interaction with that 53K level, or perhaps as low as 52K there, if we continue to get rejected from 57. And so, I mean, we're still looking bullish. We got the buy for, got the super buy. Hell still present is the only kind of sell signal at the moment. But the buy for and super buy does suggest that we can kind of continue upward soon here. And so, I mean, I'm still quite long-term bullish on Bitcoin, as many are, rather. And so, I mean, when you consider the Fear and Greed Index, we have, the top of the FOMO zone there at 89K, raising by the day. So the higher that goes, the higher the suggested potential market top could be. Although either way, Bitcoin will surpass the six-figure range this year, I would suspect. And the interaction, I'm just saying, interaction with the FOMO zone is going to be a very, very, very volatile level. If you haven't thought this was volatile enough anyway, these multi $10,000 pumps upwards and downwards, if you haven't thought that was crazy enough, things are going to get even more crazy. So price action still sideways. Technically, we're trapped under the big zone of slapping and kicking, spinning and punching above 57K there. So failure to interact above that zone will bring us all the way back down. 0.786 correlating with 51,784. I have a support zone above 48.98. And so, I mean, 48,000 does seem to be like an ultimate low if we do end up coming that down there. And printing a lower high above at least 47,100 will still mean that we are bullish. And so, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with the link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below. Let me know what you're doing with your Bitcoin, your XLM. Do you trade? Do you hold? What is your investment strategy moving forward if you have one?